Hi, I'm Karen, and I'm going to show you how to hand piece today. We're working with Joanne's Quilt Block of the Month, the French Cottage. Block number 1 is a perfect place to start because all the pieces are pre-cut. The quilt is behind me. It is a Block of the Month quilt, 12 blocks. The center carpenter square is going to be in the setting kit. All the pre-cut pieces in the setting kit have the borders, the center, and some of the sashing. Block number 1, which is right here in the quilt, is pre-cut, and I thought that would be a good place for us to start hand piecing. When you take your pieces out of the bag, you're going to lay them all out so that you can see exactly where the pieces go. For hand piecing, all you need is a needle. I'm using a number 10 sharp, cotton thread, which we've cut to 18 inches. For this one, I have paper shapes made. Usually you sew 1/4 of an inch, and you can use a 1/4 inch guide, but I have some cardstock today that we're going to use to trace around. The pieces are going to be finished 6 inches and 3 inches. So I start with the first triangle. I'm placing it down on a piece of sandpaper because we don't want it to shift. I put my cardstock triangle down, and I'm going to trace the triangle, and this is just a mechanical pencil with a hard lead. The sandpaper keeps the shape from shifting. We're going to find the intersecting points on our triangles that we've marked with pencil. We're going to put a pin. We're also going to put one right in the center. You'll notice that I only use 4 pins. We don't want anyone to find one accidentally. For our needle and thread, we're going to do a quilter's knot. You're going to find the end of your thread and wrap a few times and pull the needle through. This makes sort of a French knot if you've ever done any embroidery. This knot won't pull out, and it will be a little bit larger. So we have our pins. We're going to take that first intersection one out, and we're going to take a little back stitch. These number 10 applique needles are a little bit longer, and they're nice and fine. What we're going to do is try and load up 4 or 5 stitches at a time. And we're going to go across our marked line until we get to the center here. Once we get to the center pin, we're going to take a back stitch. That keeps it from tugging up and getting gathered. You want to make sure that this is nice and straight. You want to put a little pressure as you pull the thread, but not so much that you're going to gather it, and that's what that halfway point tack will accomplish. We're going to finish the end of our row, and I think you can see how quickly you can do some hand piecing. We're just going to rock the needle back and forth. We're going to stop a 1/4 of an inch, just where that intersection is. We're going to stop a 1/4 of an inch. We're going to leave that open. Rather than putting a knot at the end of my sewn row, I'm going to do what we call a tailor's tack, and that is going to be 3 or 4 stitches, real tiny, right in the same spot, and that will secure it. Before I cut it, I do want to run my needle and thread back in through the seam allowance so we have a little bit of a tail and we can cut the thread. I'm going to open my pieces up and just finger press the seam to the dark. We're going to put it down in place, and we're ready to pin it to the next section. We're going to do the same thing, joining this 1/4 of our block. Here's one that I finished. We're going to do this block 1/4 at a time. We're going to measure as we go to be sure that everything is accurate, and I think that you can find that you can do a block in an evening. This is great for, hand piecing is great for waiting for appointments, when you're sitting through baseball games or in the school line. French Cottage Block 1.